Start your day informed. The FIVEaa Breakfast Show.
9 minutes to 7 o'clock. Time to talk technology with our Gadget coach, Nathan Allington. Nathan, good morning.
Good morning.
It seems as though we're shopping online more than ever before, and we're shopping with our mobiles more than ever before.
Yes, Google have released some data this morning saying that 40% of shopping searches are now coming from smartphones and tablets. And not only that, but year on year, the online shopping searches are increasing 20%. So of that increase in 20%, almost half of online shopping searches are now coming from mobile devices.
So obviously the technologies there is we've adopted it, taken it up. What sort of areas are we looking at, Nathan? Are people just looking at where to go and buy, or are they actually making purchases?
So it's an initial point of contact, and people are searching for, they might be researching a purchase, maybe checking prices, comparing between different retailers. But the interesting stat is only 1 in 3 large advertisers have a mobile-friendly site. So Google raised this awareness that there are almost half of people are doing it on a mobile device, but there's not a compatible website that is easy to search and find the information.
So I would imagine most people, if they're going to be shopping or at least browsing online, they'd be doing it via pads or tablets rather than the phones. Would the phone be a bit small?
Well, with a mobile-optimized site, you can get all this information, and that's what the point I think Google are trying to say, is if you have an optimized site, it can be the perfect size because it will put everything from a website into an easy, scrollable format for a smartphone, so you don't need to move sideways. All you do is just scroll through and the text is larger. But yeah, tablets are definitely increasing, and a large part of why this has gone up to 40%, because people might be watching TV and then they're using their tablet, and an ad might come up and they might do some research. So yeah, tablets are a large part of the increase in numbers for sure.
And Apple have been sued, I believe, over a clock face.
Yeah, so in the iOS 6 update that came out for the iPad, previously there wasn't a clock app on the iPad, and so in this release there was a clock app, and the clock face, the analog face, is an exact replica of a famous clock used in the Swiss railway system. So there was a bit of a furore when it came out, and the Swiss were pushing for legal action, but Apple have settled for $21 million to use the clock design in their app.
So did they get that out of the console and just hand that over? Because they'd have $21 million in the back pocket, wouldn't they, mate?
Oh yeah, they've just got spare change. They have $193 billion in annual sales. So
you know what? I reckon the Swiss got dudded, don't you reckon?
Yeah.
$21 million for their clock. That's probably worth a lot more than that long term, because I mean Apple's going to have this for decades to come, aren't they?
Yes, yeah, and I've never been to Switzerland, but apparently in Europe it's a bit of a trademark of their rail system, and they've had this clock design since the 1940s. So yeah, 21 million. I'm not sure if it's a lifetime one or if it's an annual fee, but yeah, it's they've done well.
Well, while Apple and Samsung are still going strong, they've come to an agreement with HTC.
Yeah, so they've come to a settlement, and it's a 10-year licensing agreement, and it's going to end all their worldwide litigation. Currently, there are around 20 lawsuits all over the world, and what this will mean is HTC will pay Apple about $6 to $8 per handset as a licensing fee for patents and software and hardware components in the phone. So they don't have to worry about any lawsuits. They just keep doing what they want to do. And what this will equate to, potentially based off current sales, next year it could be 180 to 280 million on an annual basis.
Wow. Well, that pays for the clock many times over.
Yeah.
Hey,
It certainly does.
Nathan, there's a Blackberry 10 coming early next year.
Yes, on January 30th, we're seeing a worldwide launch for Blackberry 10. There's a couple of devices we're expecting to see, but BlackBerry are putting all their hopes, and they've delayed this launch of this operating system. They've definitely lagged, and there's been lots of media reports of businesses going from BlackBerry to iPhone and other systems, but they're hoping this will be the one that'll catch up and put them about third on the smartphone distribution.
How do you fancy their chances?
Yeah.
It might be too little too late. It would have to be a really fantastic system to catch up, because they're losing a lot of ground. Obviously, Apple leading, and Android is just so popular now and growing all the time. And then Windows Phone just come out, and that's a great system. So they really would have to come out with something really special to gain back some of the customers they've lost.
Mathan, thank you for that. Talk to you next week.
Thank you.
Our gadget coach, Mathan Allington, 3.5 to 6.
It's easy with Gadget Coach.